Welcome to Fueling Your Legacy, hosted by Samuel Knickerbocker. Each week, we expose the faulty foundational mindsets of the past and rebuild a new, stronger foundation essential in creating your legacy. We've got a lot of work to do, so let's get started. Welcome back to Fuel Your Legacy. Cool. As always, this week we've been talking about how to master a plethora of things, but one of the book we discussed on Wednesday was Shoe Dog, and today we're actually we're going to be speaking with Jake Knotman. He is a real estate and property developer out of the UK, has a fantastic story about getting kicked out of school at 16, and has just worked his way up. He's now 22, correct? Is that correct, Jake?
Yeah, 22.
22 years old, and just built kind of a real estate empire to where he's doing business internationally at this point. And he just absolutely loves what he does, and he loves going to the gym. He's found that as being a huge key to his success. So exercise. With that, we're going to pass it over to you, Jake. Just give a quick intro to your past or your childhood, how you got to where you are, and any little life lessons you think contributed to that.
For sure. Well, I appreciate you having me on. It's always a pleasure to come on and collaborate with individuals like yourself, so I really appreciate that. In terms of, obviously, me as an individual, so as explained, I'm at the earlier point in my career. I'm not 40, 50, I've not built this ridiculous legacy yet. I'm on the journey, as we all are. That it's a constant work in progress. So I'm from an amazing city in the UK called Manchester. Everyone seems to think London's the best, but I personally believe Manchester is. And yeah, just always had a sort of sporting background, always been into like rugby, football, soccer, where you guys are. And that has sort of led me to, I've always sort of trying to be a leader in my own right with that, whether it's captain, being the captain of the team, whether it's always constantly, the basic things I started quite early, the reading the books, the going to the gym, the going to the networking events and stuff like that. It sort of got me into the position where sort of at 22, and like you said, I'm doing business and transactions with the overseas market, which at the age of 16, if I told you, a couple of years later I'll be doing that, it seemed quite crazy. It seemed quite crazy to even have a proper job at sort of 17, sort of a year and a half after obviously what happened. But you know what? I'm very, very glad it happened at the age it happened. I'm quite fortunate that I had those issues at the early point. Of course, for my mum, my dad, the family and friends at the time, it wasn't people like, obviously, because you get to that point of your career point of your life where you're starting to become more of an adult at sort of 16. You're not a full adult yet, but you can't really be sort of messing around like you could do at sort of the ages of 12, 13. People, you go into the big wide world. So a few people were worried about me, to be honest. And I guess I was worried in myself. So I had to sort of make some big changes. Definitely the people and the friends. And I'm a big believer in spending time with people that not always, in terms of bringing you, being a mentor and all kinds of stuff, being around people that can improve you in many different ways, not just financially, but spiritually, and how you see things, how you treat people. And I've been trying to do that the last 2 years, and being around the right people for sure.
Sure, that's awesome. And we spoke earlier on a previous date, and you had mentioned a few different things that I just think are very fascinating, and also add a lot of credibility as far as on the habit, mindset, and behavior side of what it takes to build a legacy. I think it's something that's very unique. And tell us a little bit about when you got injured in rugby, correct? You're playing rugby, got injured, and then kind of just fell behind the rest of the other people.
For sure, yeah. Well, so I've always played rugby. My family sort of always been a rugby family, and quite fortunate to have a granddad that did quite well, played international level, played for England and stuff like that. So I've always been, especially my mum, because my mum's dad, I've always been into rugby. So I tried to, at the early point of career, I think a lot of people that are into sports, that they have this big dream of becoming a professional of some sort, whatever it is. I think, especially as a young lad, it's just natural. It's quite an interesting thing to do. And Yeah, like you said, I had a couple of injuries around sort of the 14, 15, coming up to the 16-year-old period where, especially at that point of life, a lot of growth is done. A lot of people get a lot quicker, a lot faster, a lot sharper on the ball, a lot bigger, stronger. They can tackle harder, they can hit harder. So I had these injuries which I got to a good level of playing, and then it allowed, unfortunately got injured. And from that point, it prevented me from going back because I kept on getting these injuries on the same shoulder, which I had, which a shoulder in rugby or shoulder in most sports is very, very important. So I obviously came back and everyone was a lot quicker, everyone was a lot stronger. And it got to a point in rugby, it wasn't just about being, as you know, in all the sports over in the US, you can't just be a big dude and you get it. You have to be very, very sharp. You have to be very, very technical on the ball. And sort of the training level was massively up that year and a half that I was out of the game. And it was no excuses. I mean, I probably could have really stuck at it. I could have probably maybe got back. But I just had the quick reality of that. Look, if it's going to work, it's going to work. And I've got to put everything into it. Or I've got to work out what I want to do next. And that's why I probably went into a period of my life which I didn't really have the strong enough purpose, hence why getting kicked out of school, not being the best at school. I wasn't a bad child, wasn't a bad kid. Teachers still loved me. It was just a case of the school wasn't the right system for me. And that led me on to the things of trying to do my own business, trying to build my own legacy, and trying to really make an impact in the world. But impact sounds quite cliche, and many people can say that. But genuinely from an early age of, for example, getting back into the gym after the injuries that I had and listening to the motivational videos every single morning, really get that mindset right, has definitely led me onto the path that I'm on today.
Yeah, for sure. And when you were kicked out of school, right, you say it wasn't really the path for you. Did you always feel that it wasn't the path for you, or was it kind of a coming to realization of like, you know what, this just isn't working? And was it kind of hard to leave the friends and people that you had behind in school and kind of just choose a different path, even though you were no longer going to be with the people that you had obviously had good relationships with, even with your teachers?
Sure, yeah. I mean, like I said, I'm quite a sociable person. I've like I said, I've got a lot of great friends, and I'll value them. I see friends as pretty much family members, really. Of course, I've got. It was very difficult at that point, especially with my mum. My mum works around sort of the schools in Manchester, and her job is, for example, how the other side of Manchester lives, like the poverty side. Her job is to keep kids and keep unfortunate families in schools. So obviously when my mum's getting phone calls from my school saying, look, your son's not wanting to come to the lesson, your son's doing all these things, that was a big shock for her, because obviously her day-to-day job is working with people that have essentially less things in life than what I had. And she was getting all these phone calls. So yeah, it was very difficult for not only for myself, but I was quite blind to it because I played a bit of an ego issue. I thought I was the man. I thought I could do this, could do that. So I wasn't a dick or anything like that. I just wasn't really aware truly of the situation. And it only came sort of after hitting rock bottom with the taking drugs and stuff like that, that I had to quickly realise that shit, things have got to change, because I can't get kicked out of school. And I've got two options here. I can either go down a path which a lot of people do go down, and they can't get out of that path, and they can't get out of that vicious cycle of carry on with the drug abuse, carry on with the alcohol, carry on with because it's very easy at 17 to 25 to just go out and get drunk every weekend. It's very easy to do, because that's quite normal. I mean, it's not, you're not doing something which is abnormal. You're not going to sound like a complete weirdo, but provided you're not drinking at 1 o'clock on the Tuesday afternoon, then going out drinking every weekend doesn't, to the reality, to the world, doesn't seem like a massive issue. But that for me is, I mean, I see alcohol as a massive, massive negative in a lot of people, especially in the journey to the top. So yeah, it was difficult. It was difficult leaving school, and I've always been, like I said, wanting to be around friends. I've always had a group of guys that I can go and relax with, chill with, do whatever I want, play football, rugby, whatever it is. So yeah, it was difficult because I got kicked out of school, and I knew that I was I knew that, like I said, deep down I could do the things I could. I still got good grades, even though I wasn't in school. So it wasn't like I was dumb or anything like that. But the people that, as soon as I got kicked out, the people that I was hanging around with, they weren't the people that I'd aspired to be like. They were people that I knew straight away that I shouldn't really be chilling with you or relaxing with you because you're not really going to the places that I want to go to. Now, there's no doing discredit to them or anything like that. But yeah, quickly realised that you can't be spending time with people that aren't going places, especially if you want to go places yourself.
Yeah. No, I think that right there, I think, is one of the biggest separators between the people who end up being majorly successful in life and those who are still on their journey before they become successful. They're not going to close it off to them, but there's just a lot of people who don't check their associations. They don't recognize that they actually have the ability to become whoever they want to become, and choosing who you're associating with matters. I was on the phone with a business partner earlier today, and he's like, man, I don't know if I want to go to this meeting that we have for my firm. I was like, well, you can choose that not to, but as you're leading other people, you have to recognize that you leading other people, they're going to do what you do, and maybe they need to be at that meeting even though you don't want to be at the meeting. And helping people understand that the master of influence, not only that they're being influenced by others, but also that you're influencing others. And that's what's cool about your story, is that I'm sure there's been people who have watched you change over the last 4 to 6 years, that you're having a positive influence on, who maybe they were people you were hanging out with doing drinking or drugs or whatever, that now they're thinking, wow, what if I could change, and what if I could be like Jake? You know, I know he's a normal dude, just like the rest of us.
For sure. And that's why, I mean, I said when we first spoke on a call, I said, look, I've got some great friends. I mean, I'm very fortunate that the people that I was, I mean, there's obviously everyone has a group of friends that can pick up a phone to and relax and do whatever, go for a bite to eat. But I've got like a small circle within a big circle, if that makes sense. And my closest friends, my closest brothers, as I like to say, like I said, they've seen me in the situations which I was in. They were the people that I was speaking to, having the issues with various different things that were going on in my life. I was getting kicked out of school, whether it was a girl, whatever it was. Those, my 3-4 best friends that I could speak to. And now, those 3-4 best friends, we're on a similar path. I mean, we're doing things. 3 of them are doing at the age of 22. They're doing their own thing as well. Well, best friend's Dylan. He just recently left his firm, and he's set up his own business in real estate and property. It's like something slightly different, but we're working together now. And that, we set up. We tried to do different trading businesses when we were like 17, 18. Like, so it's just really, really nice to see the people that obviously you've come from. You've been crying on the phone to now you're picking up the phone to seeing if you can do a big deal over with Hong Kong or a Chinese investor. So yeah, it's nice to see, and I'm very grateful for the friends I have.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's a fun thing. I actually, just this week, I started working with somebody that I worked with 2 or 3 years ago. We did door-to-door sales together, and he's been a client of mine for the last 2 years, but hasn't worked out timing-wise or interest-wise for him to work with me. And then just the other day, he called me and he's like, hey, Sam, I'm ready to get into your industry. And I was like, awesome. I love that we can be working together. So I love that feeling. I actually wrote a whole book, ebook called Fuel Your Legacy, and the 9 Pillars to Build a Meaningful Legacy. And it really is that one of the main sections of it is do it for your haters and do it for your supporters, out of love, because a lot of times those people are the ones who are not sure that they can do it. But as soon as they start seeing your success, then they start to have confidence in their own ability to go have success. And that's a labor of love for me. Like why I choose to build a legacy, and I know we've talked, and why you're choosing to build a legacy is to demonstrate and to leave an impact so that others can believe in themselves even more than they do right now. And that's just such an amazing legacy to be leaving.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Yeah, man. And like you said, it's, I think if you can get to the top with your closest friends, I think what's better than that? I mean, you come from during the early ages, 9, 10. I mean, one of my best friends, I'm still best friends with since I've known since I was 4 years old. I mean, I've known these guys for 10, 15, or even, like I said, 18 years, some of them. So, do you mean in 10, 15 years' time, and we're going to be hopefully on the super yachts, we're going to be doing the great things. It'll be nice, man. It'll be really, really nice. And I think a lot of people, you don't do business with your friends and stuff like that. Oh, well, yeah, maybe not direct business, maybe not direct partnerships. I mean, if it works, great. Do you mean you've got to realise who you are as friends? You've got to realise what buttons make each other switch. And I think if you can understand each other as friends, and me and my friends are very, very honest with each other. We don't fluff things up. We don't tell you what you want to hear just because it sounds like a good idea. We'll be brutal because if anyone's going to be brutal, it's going to be your best friends, your brothers, which can tell you that, and you're not really bothered. Which, if you actually, a lot of people see that as sometimes negative. They don't like sometimes the honesty. And the way I see truth, it's like poetry, and not a lot of people like poetry. Do you know what I mean? So I think if you can just be honest and truthful with the people that are around you, especially your closest friends, then you've got your ego shut down straight away. And especially when you're coming into business transactions, business partnerships, you're not just always fluffing situations up just to make it sound nice. You can even prep with your friends, you can talk, discuss deals, and yeah, loving it. And I'm sure I'll build more partnerships and friendships over the years, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. And I think that there's a lot of respect that comes from the process of being honest and just being right up front with people. I try to be very open and transparent with people. Sometimes too much. Over the weekend has said something. So I'm like, oh man, you need to have more tact, Sam. And I'm like, you know what? You're probably right. I could be more tactful. But the last thing I would want is to be misunderstood. Like, I'd rather be understood with not very good tact than misunderstood because I was trying to be too politically correct or too kind with the way I was expressing my opinion or sharing the truth. I'd rather just have it out there, and then people can get offended if they want or not get offended. But I would hate to be misunderstood. And so I like, yes, same thing. When you're in business with friends or family or anybody, the more direct and honest and open you can be, tends to be the better way for them to be communicated that there's value there.
Sure. Not everyone responds to it positively. The truth hurts. It's not something, especially I know. It's not, if you told me all the things that sometimes what I discuss with my friends at 17, 18, I would have got really annoyed, I may have got angry, would have seen it a completely different wrong way. But when you're in business, as you know, it's dog eat dog world, and no one's going to pat you on the back, no one's going to do it for you. And that starts from the early conversations that you have with your friends and your family, because I see a lot of people. No, I'm not a parent, and obviously I'm not a parent as of yet. I can't wait for that day, but I'm not going to sit here and try and give parent advice. But a lot of people, obviously, they're brought up in a childhood where it's all very nicey nice and fluffy fluff, and oh, you can do this, and you've heard of it all before. The person last place, and you get a medal for coming last, and all this kind of stuff. I quickly realised that look, that's not the real world. Especially the people especially in real estate games. With people with a lot of money and a lot of power, if you're not on your game, you're not sharp, they will do you over. They will screw you over, and you'll lose a lot of money, thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions, and people are really, really not bothered. If they don't have to pay you £100,000 as a sales fee, they will not pay you. But if you're all nicey nice and, oh yeah, we're going to do it, they see that as an opportunity. They see you as vulnerable. They'll take advantage of you. And I've had it done. My first year of business in the property game and real estate, we could do loads of deals, transactions-wise, because we're young, we're hungry, we know what we're talking about, we can deliver. But then when it comes to actually getting paid and money in the bank, it's a completely different story. And that's because we didn't do the due diligence right. We thought we just believed what obviously the developer had said in the first place, because we started as an agent before we started building our own stuff. And yeah, that's what I quickly realised. And my friends now, we have honest conversations, but I know that I'm very careful, very wary that sometimes you can't go all in because they start to think you're a preacher, they start to think you're a bit of an idiot. So I'm very aware of certain situations, and I've got a lot of group of friends, and the closest friends will talk about business, but yeah, not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's going to get the journey. Not everyone wants to build a big legacy. But I try and, like Tyler Open says, the 33% rule. 33% of your time are people that, not below you, maybe below you, but may not have the same vision and alignment as what you want to do to help you obviously boost your ego. 33% of your time to spend with your closest friends or between partnerships on your level. And then 33% of your time are people that are way ahead of you, people that you can learn from, people that have got the experiences, people that have got useful contacts. And that's why your ego has to completely get out of the room, because if you're spending time, I think a lot of people spend sometimes time with people where they start to make a bit of money at a young age and they feel like they've cracked the code. They feel like they don't need to learn anymore. They feel they can become arrogant. They become the ego, the head gets too big. And yeah, it's just not really a thing that I look at. I see everyone as an opportunity to learn from. I don't just see people as an opportunity to learn for financial reasons. The key to life is being happy and not just receive money, because I've made a bit of money the last 2 years. It's great. Done some nice things, but still got the same friends. I've still done the same things. I've still gone out to food. Yeah, do you want to go out for a bite to eat? Yeah, mate, I've gone once or twice more. I'm still going on holiday. Life hasn't, it's not changed that much. Changed that much in terms of what I could do, because I'm not in a situation where I'm in poverty. I'm very grateful for that. But that's why I was very conscious and very aware that I had to become a master and become an expert of spending time with family, because I sort of almost neglected my family at times, because I was obviously in this hut, as in this ego of, I want to do these big things, or I can't spend time with family, and with the drugs on the side and stuff like that, I was always just focusing on smoking weed with my friends. It was like never really actually value my family enough, and stuff like that, which I'm constant work in progress. And it's never, once you've cracked it, it's never just a done deal. The world's changing at a quicker rate than we've ever seen it. So being on top of your game and being aware of situations and constantly learning is what I'm a big believer in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I found that that really is the key to success, is understanding the situations you get in and not judging yourself or condemning yourself for whatever happens, but just taking a stock of every experience and then learning from those experiences and then applying them moving forward. And I would say go back and listen to whoever's listening, go back and listen to the last maybe 5 minutes or so and just say, okay, what did he just talk about? Because he's hit a ton of different points about family, about friends, about time, like how much time to focus on where in your relationships. All those things are absolutely essential in our lives. I'm curious for you, Jake, what do you feel like is a secret, like your secret weapon, your secret habit, mindset, or behavior that has really helped you begin creating your legacy? I know you have a long way to go, just because your dreams and vision are so big, but I feel you're actively moving in the direction of them, of your legacy. So what do you feel like your habit, mindset, or behavior is that's really pushing and propelling you forward?
For sure. Well, the basic things which I'm a big believer in is, everyone says obviously some form of exercise, gym, running, whatever it is. I see that as just part of the routine. I see if you want to be, I'm coming from a business aspect here, if you want to be top of your game, and you want to be the best you can be, well, going to the gym is just very, very important. It's just, if you don't go to the gym, then if you've got someone that's over a period of a year or 5 years, if you've got someone that goes to the gym every single morning or at some point in the day, and you've got someone that's just constantly doing very unhealthy, not having the best diet, constantly stressed, that person who's gone to the gym and that form of exercise every single day will be way ahead in many, many different ways. So the gym for me is just part of the process day to day. So if you're not doing any form of exercise, highly recommend it. Don't see it as a chore, see it as a lifestyle. You've got to be getting that done, because those are the small things, like the reading, like the other things, that will make a big difference. But for me, the number one thing which probably has allowed me to sit down with anyone in the room and have a conversation with some very senior board members, whether it's a multi-millionaire, billionaire, traveling over the world, is really attending networking events. A lot of people, they go to network events probably sometimes for the wrong reasons. They go to network events, they just see it as, oh, what deals can I make on day one? And for me, it's about relationships. I mean, in my game with the overseas market, the overseas investment in China, Hong Kong, Middle East, everything is down to the relationship that you build. I mean, I see so many people I'm going against agents and developers and doing bigger players than me that I've been in the game for 20, 30 years, but these guys are coming to me. And I'm like, why? I'm like, well, you just read the conversations. I have conversations on WhatsApp with these guys. I speak to them all the time. I see them as a friend. So at a networking event, I never ever try and get business out of someone from day one. Obviously, they always say, oh, get a one-to-one in after a week, after whatever it is. But those skills that you learn from that networking, sitting down and building that relationship, because like I said, people have the wrong intentions. They just go there to make money from day one. But it's not making money from day one. It's how you can build a relationship with someone from maybe a 6 to 12 month period, or even a couple of year period, and then get money in the bank. That for me is a skill. And going overseas and standing in front of people at networking events, really putting yourself outside of comfort zone. Because I hated drama at school. I hated any public speaking, but standing in a room at the age of 18 in front of 30, 40 business owners, fuck man, that was awful. I mean, it was horrific. And you go there, you don't really have much. You're not being in the business game. You don't really have that much value, you think, at the time to offer people. But just standing there and being present and letting people know that you're here, you're doing these things, and you're up in the game and leveling up, and going to them regularly on a weekly basis if possible, making notes, making connections. So whenever it comes to do your own thing or whatever it is, you've got the right contact. So they always say, your network is your net worth. And it sounds, again, quite cliche, but the basics work. So networking and putting yourself outside uncomfortable situations, not only just in your local market. If I'm based in Manchester, it's a 2-hour train journey to London. Get yourself to London. Get yourself down on a train to London. It's £60-70, whatever it is, $100 to get a train down, or you can get a flight to wherever. And you're building connections. Now, if you're in a game where you can make big money, whether it's a couple of grand, a couple of thousand on a set deal, then you've made your money back from day one. So, but people aren't prepared to spend £100, or like I spend between £1,500 to go to Hong Kong for 3 days. It's $2,000, whatever it is. It's like, people are like, well, it's a lot of money. It's a week in Greece. It's a week in Ibiza, whatever. Yeah, it is. But I'd rather be doing that week in Ibiza on a super yacht in 5 years, or to get my private plane to Ibiza or to Vegas, whatever it is, rather than spending all that money now. I'm still doing those things. I'm still going to Hong Kong. I'm still going to Ibiza, but I'm being aware of what I'm spending. And I still have a good time. I love a good when there's a time and a place. You'll see me out at parties till 6 a.m. But that's very rare for me. I've done that. I maybe do that once or twice this year. So it's like I said, I'm aware of life, and it's being positive on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, networking is key for me for sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. I actually yesterday in a meeting with my team, I was telling them about a few clients that I've got from a networking thing. I started good networking. I don't know if you've ever been to or heard of Toastmasters, but I started networking in this Toastmasters group, I don't know, 2 years ago. And for the first year and a half, there was I never made any business or any money off it. I just was getting to know people, building relationships. And as I did that, now, 2 years in, now I'm getting pretty I've gotten a few pieces of business out of that group, and it's been pretty nice. It's something that comes from a relationship rather than just going and making a quick buck. It's more about how can we build relationships that are long-lasting, relationships of trust, because you never know. This is another thing. You never know, one, when you're going to need to reach out to somebody and have them help you out. But also, you're never going to know when they're going to need your help. But if you're not close enough to them, then they're not going to ask you for help. And this is maybe a little extreme, but I actually had somebody fairly close to me who I feel like I've told multiple times what I do for work, but because I wasn't there, presence of mind and continually nurturing that relationship. Then I saw him post on Facebook, hey, does anybody do XYZ? And it's like exactly what I do. I'm like, really? That was my bad. I didn't stick up with that networking and maintain that relationship enough to where they knew what I was doing. So when they needed something, they would reach out to me. So that's a huge benefit of networking that just gets completely overlooked often because people are so intent on just making the quick dollar. And if they don't see the quick dollar come in or the quick pound or whatever, then they're going to discard the networking rather than maintaining that networking and think of it more like farming rather than a quick harvest.
For sure. I like that. And a lot of people, I mean, I've said it to a lot of my friends. I've said it to even my girlfriend. My girlfriend's just recently started her own sort of like real estate sourcing business. And she's like, what do I say? Like, who do I speak to? What do I do? Like, because they've never, a lot of my friends have gone to university. They've gone through the education system from the age of 14 to 22. The only people that they've been communicating with is people similar age. Whether it's students, people that age, obviously, you know what the culture's like with university and college. There's some obviously, of course, very clever people and great people, but you're not sitting down with people that have got 40 years experience in your field every single day. You may go to a lecture, you may learn from a tutor, whatever it is, but the rest of your time you're on your own and you're around people that have the similar sort of mindset as you, and it's very difficult sometimes to get out of that. But really, just dropping your ego. As soon as you get into that meeting, just be honest with people. You don't want to, like I said, be too vulnerable because people can see that as an opportunity. I was like that. I sat down there. I said, look, I want to do these great things and I want to make this money. I want to build the biggest development firm in the world. I want to make all this cash and do all these things. And people like that. People love it because that's a skill in itself, be motivated. Not a lot of people have that. But if you're not firm with people and you don't tell them from day one that, look, I'm not here to sort of mess around, people will just take advantage of you. So, yeah, learning from people with experiences is massive. Just sitting down, asking people questions about what they do. That's how I've learned most of the things I've learned, whether it's in business, whether it's in property, real estate, whatever it is field I'm looking to learn. It's just by having conversations. I'm not a person, I listen to a lot of podcasts, I read books now and again, but consuming a lot, I read books. I do learn, of course, a lot, but I learn a lot more from having a conversation with someone who may know a lot more, have made a lot more money than me, by just, speak with them. Now, it's like, well, if you don't know what you're talking about, how are you going to have a conversation? Well, if it's property related, real estate, learn the basics. Learn what's going on in, for example, if I use my local market, Manchester, I can just look online, Manchester property market, I learn all the things that's happening, and that's a point of conversation. Oh, you talk about the new development that's being built around the corner. You're starting to have a conversation. As soon as you start saying stuff like that, they'll come back to you, oh yeah, I know the developer on this, they've done this, or these are the kind of stuff they've done before. And straight away, you're getting them to talk. The more times you can get them talking, the more that you learn. And especially if someone that you want to learn from in the first place, using your skill set of playing off their ego and making them sound like amazing is what you want to do. But also being firm and being strong in your conversations so you don't get too screwed over when it comes to doing business with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that Jake just gave you a master class and he condensed years worth of information down into a 5 to 10 minute section of how to become a great conversationalist and how to walk into any conversation and add value to a conversation and take away value, and learn something. So add value and learn something. People love to listen to themselves talk. It just is what it is. And so when you can learn to ask good questions and not just pretend to be interested in what they're doing, but ask questions that you're interested in. It's so funny. I call a lot of people, not necessarily cold call, but get people referred to me and I give them a call. And I Facebook and Instagram, and I check out everybody that I'm calling before I call them. And I've had some people come at me and say, well, isn't that a little bit creepy, or are you just doing it so you can manipulate them into a conversation? And it's not about that. It's about focusing on what you have in common rather than focusing on what you don't have in common. But if I can go on and find out something about somebody's life and know what I have in common with them, then you can build rapport so much faster if you already know what you have in common with somebody. And if you're centering the conversation around that, you're not manipulating somebody. You're allowing yourself to actually be in a position of influence rather than constantly bringing up something that's going to separate you and not make you feel like, or not make them feel like that you're one of them. You want to be bringing up subjects or interests that they feel like, oh yeah, this person's just like me. And that way you can actually learn from them, because then they're going to open up more and they're going to be willing to share more of the things that they've done to become as successful as they are. So absolutely on point about how to communicate with people. I'm just curious, how can we, as a Fuel Your Legacy Nation, maybe if you ever are in the States doing business, but how can we get a hold of you, watch what you're doing, and where are you most active? LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, where are you most active so we can get some of this content on a more regular basis from you?
Sure. Well, I'm on a platform called LinkedIn as well, as we all know. I do use Instagram. I'll be honest, my Instagram game is on the way up, I'll be honest. But LinkedIn, I've been this sort of last year and a half, I've been building my LinkedIn to, I think it's around nearly 13,000 connections on there, just because it's sort of always been relevant to my business. But LinkedIn is one of the key places, most underrated platforms out there. So learn that skill. But yeah, Instagram, jakeknotman.com, it's my website, assetswebuild.com. But yeah, LinkedIn, Instagram, you'll be able to find me, and then you can click through the websites from there. And then, yeah, well, that's probably the best way to find me for sure.
Awesome. Well, all those links will be in the show notes. And I would say everybody should go follow him and check out a lot of the things that he's doing. I followed him on a few different platforms. I would say his LinkedIn is definitely more active, I think, than any other platform for him right now. But there's just so much content, and I personally am trying to put content out more on Facebook and Instagram, and it takes a lot of effort and time to like be consistent on some of these platforms. And it's like part of any business owner will know this, but it's part of your advertising, like your networking, and you just have to make time for it every day and be consistent. So you're not spending a lot of time like doing a bunch in 1 week and then none for the next 3 weeks. You're doing a little bit every day to maximize the usage out of that. So I would say follow him on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and go check out his website. It's assetswebuild.com, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, Assets We Build. So awesome stuff he's doing. So the next section is just legacy on rapid fire. It's where we're going to ask 5 questions, and we're going to go through them. We're looking at for a 1 to 1 sentence answer, 1 word to 1 sentence answer, of just quick answers of how we can really look into, kind of peer into your business and where you're headed over the next maybe year or 2 years. So the first question is, what do you feel is holding you back from reaching the next level of your legacy today?
My exposure in the Asian markets.
Okay. And what do you believe the hardest thing you've ever accomplished is?
Hardest thing. Probably working 7 days a week for 18 months straight.
Yeah, we didn't get to talk about that. We're going to have to swing back for that one. But that's an incredible story there for a second as well. So, and what do you believe the greatest success at this point in your life has been?
Networking.
Okay. What is one of your secrets you believe contributes most to your success other than networking? Because we know that's your ultimate habit.
Probably hot yoga.
Hot yoga. I have yet to try that, so I should go. I've had 2 guests recommend that, so I've got to go try it at some point.
Game changer, I tell you. Let me tell you that, game changer.
Awesome. And what book or books would you recommend to the Fuel Your Legacy audience?
Probably The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. Obviously, the basics: Think and Grow Rich, How to Win Friends and Influence People. You mentioned Shoe Dog at the early of the call. Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. Amazing book. Books and probably the key people. I try and read books on the biggest players in the market. I'm not interested in reading a book on someone who's not earned the money that I want to earn. I mean, that's what you got to be quite selfish with your reader as well. So yeah, the biggest players in the game that you can learn from.
Yeah, to add on to that about reading, it's so fascinating. People will take criticism or correction from people who are not anywhere close to where they want to be. But reading your books, it's sometimes hard to get in like physical presence of these people. But if you can go and pick up a book of their biography or a book that they've written of their mindsets and their concepts or habits, behaviors that they've created in their life that they've used to create their success, and listen to those books or read those books, then you're essentially getting direct mentorship from them. And until you can apply what you read in the book, I won't say there's no point in going and talking to them in person, but they're definitely giving a lot of their skills and what's helped them become successful away for essentially free. I mean, the cost of a book is what, $20, maybe 15 pounds, something like that. And with the cost of a book, you're essentially getting direct mentorship from these industry leaders. And it's pretty incredible. And then YouTube, there's tons of content on YouTube by most industry leaders as well.
For sure. Definitely agree.
So I want to swing back to this because I'm sad we didn't talk about this as much this time, but you worked for 18 months, 7 days a week. How many jobs were you working again?
Well, it's at the start of when I first got into property. We set up the agency, so doing like investment sales for developers in the UK, selling to overseas, and I had to then work at a real estate agency in a place called Hale near my house, and had to work there to facilitate the income. And that's very important for people that they want to get into business, they want to do their own thing, they want to be their own boss, they want to go for lunch whenever they want to go to. But if you don't have the cash flow and you don't have money coming in, none of that will be possible. And the amount of people, especially, I mean, I don't like to count people out of my age because we're still very, very early at the point in the career, but the amount of people that want to get into it but don't actually have that income coming in, it's like, well, business is business. I mean, if stuff goes on all the time, that's what being an entrepreneur is. We're constantly solving problems. And that's not just solving a problem with people, that's solving problems financially. And if you don't have cash flow coming in, your business will fail and be screwed. And most people can go two ways. You can get back up or you get back to going into a full-time job, which is not a problem. But yeah, I had to work 18 months straight. I was very, very disciplined. It was when my girlfriend was at university, which massively helped because it meant I could really, Monday to Friday, I was, like I said, I try and get up. I mean, it's only 6:30 here and I've been up since sort of 4:45, 4:30. So I go to the gym every morning. And that allowed me to sort of progress and keep healthy, keep active, keep my mind right. And then Saturday and Sundays, I was working probably 9 till 4:30 on a Saturday, and then maybe 10 till 4:30 on Sunday as well. So it wasn't like I was doing the 12-hour days at the weekend, but I was doing probably around 18 hours over the weekend, I'd say, in total, with the stuff beforehand and going to the gym. And yeah, I kept to the gym every single morning as well. But it was tough. But you realise there's a bigger picture. And I wasn't missing out on too much. Me and my friends, they were, like I said, maybe going out to a local pub or a bar, restaurant, whatever it is. It wasn't like, because I could still go out on a Friday night. I could still do a few things. I could still see them Saturday night. It didn't mean that I had to go out and go to a party till 6 in the morning. I couldn't do that. But yeah, I tried to balance it out. So I still spent time with friends, still spent time with the family and girlfriend. And it seemed to work all right. But yeah, it was tricky, but it wasn't the fact that I was working 7 days a week. It was, I wasn't on the weekend. Sometimes it felt like I wasn't building my own dream because obviously I was having to work to bring in the cash flow to support my other business. But now I do work mostly every single day of some sort. But yeah, it was tough. But yeah, people like, they want to go from working full time to them working a couple of days in the business. It's like you can't have doing a part-time work ethic and expect full-time results. You just can't. And when you're going against people that in business trying to take everything away from you, I mean, I have always said in business, if you're a competitor to me, I'm doing everything I can to put your business out of a dream, to make you bankrupt. Not in a malicious or any negative way.
Exactly.
But I will outwork you and I will outsmart you and I'll bring in the best people to do everything I can. Because you're doing exactly the same thing to me. So that's the competition I like. And that 7 days a week for 18 months put a lot of principles in place and I made me realise a lot. And I'm very, very thankful that I did it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that no matter what happens everybody I've seen really succeed in any business, the upfront grind is there. Like you have to put in a lot of upfront work. And that's why I love the book Shoe Dog. I'm so glad that we were able to talk about that on Wednesday. But I mean, for 18 years, Phil Knight was basically bankrupt, all right up until he took his company public. And that is the common thing with so many entrepreneurs. They put in so much work for so long by the grit in their teeth. They finally make it, and then their business takes off, and people are like, oh, is this overnight success? It's like, no, not really. It was years worth of effort where it didn't seem like there was any success happening anywhere. And then something clicked, or that all the momentum finally hit and engaged and got traction. And then it looks like it's an overnight success, but that overnight success wouldn't have happened without any of the grind before. That's just not how it works. And so, yeah, I love that, that you put in the work up front. And there's a lot of people who don't understand that. There's a lot of people who look at a new entrepreneur and say, oh man, you're working too hard. You need to take some time off. And I encourage you, if you're an entrepreneur listening to this, just tune those voices out. Give yourself 2 to 5 years of just grinding and building your business. And I promise you that if you do that and you stay committed, that the people who are telling you you're working too hard, they're going to be asking you for a job. They're going to be asking, how can I do what you did? Right? It's happened to me already, but from multiple people in my life. And it's cool to see, not from not from an ego perspective, but just from a perspective of, I'm grateful that I wasn't deterred by you so that now I can lead you.
For sure. Couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't agree more.
So this is the last question, Jake, and this is, what legacy are you building? So the question is, if we were to pretend that you're dead, and now we're talking, or we're sitting around a kitchen table with your great grandchildren, and they're having a discussion about you, about your life, about your legacy, what do you want them to be saying about what your legacy is?
There's probably two things. One of the most, well, a couple of things really. So I've built the biggest real estate property development firm in the world. I want to build all across the world, whether it's the UK, even the US, Spanish markets. I want to build everywhere. So that's sort of from business side of things. A very humble, caring individual who got to a point in his career where hopefully he made a lot of money and did a lot for people with charity. I'm a big believer in that, but I'm actually a big believer in doing hands-on charity. I don't just want to give a load of money. So, yeah, someone that sort of helped and cured diseases with the support and the fact that the money that raised, and a guy that which people looked up to in basic ways, not just with business.
That's awesome. And I can see just from following you on the various social media sites that you're well on your way to do that. And it's just inspiring to see people go chase down their dreams and reach them and see the little checkpoints along the way of success. So thank you so much. We're excited to have this. Everybody can hear this and then connect with you and to get more information from you if you're when they might be able to see if they're in Manchester or in England anywhere. And England's not super big comparatively to the United States. So if they're over there, looking them up.
It's very small. I've always thought, especially now I've gone to the US. I was in for the 10X Growth Conference in Miami, and I've been in Hong Kong and mainland China, Shanghai, and places like that. And it's the UK. I mean, some of these cities, especially like China. I mean, look at Shanghai. It's got nearly, but correct me if I'm wrong, it's around 36, 37 million people in one city, which is over half the UK's population. So it's like, wow, just one city has half of the UK in it. So, yeah, if anyone's listening over in the UK, don't just believe in London. London is great, and I always love London. Do a lot of business in London, do a lot of sightseeing in London. It'll always be London, but it's time to come to Manchester. We've got two of the best football clubs in the world. We got a great party scene if you like partying, and we've got some great business people. So yeah, feel free to visit at any point.
Totally agree. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jake, and we will talk to you later. And excited to have you share more in the future with your legacy.
No problem. Appreciate you having me on.
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Thanks for joining us today. If what you heard resonated with you, please like, comment, and share on social media. Tag me so I can give you a shout out on the next episode. And thanks to all those who have left a review. It helps spread the message of what it really takes to build a legacy that lasts. Catch you next time on Fueling Your Legacy.